Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our new military veteran student meetup. Normally, we would be meeting in person on campus, but given pandemic and all of the other commitments that students have, we've chosen for this semester to do this virtually. Gives us a chance at least to start putting some names and faces together and to walk through the resources that are available specifically for this group of incoming students. Part of why we call it a bring your own brunch is that this event usually occurs over food. Food is a great commonality. Food is an opportunity for us to get together, socialize, and also learn a little bit in the process. And hopefully when we are all able to gather in person together, we will be able to brunch together. And I know that's one of Charlie's highlights of the year is the brunch that we provide during the orientation program. And so whether you're a new student or a continuing student in the fall, we encourage you to join us for events like this so that you too can be part of the legacy and the positive transition for new military veteran students on campus here at William & Mary. I'm Lauren Garrett. I'm with Student Transition Engagement Programs, formerly known as the First Year Experience Office. And we have the pleasure of working with Charlie and Devontae in Student Veterans Engagement to help ensure a successful and smooth transition into the university for all students who affiliate with military veteran service, whether that's as a member themselves or even as a family member, spouse, child, what have you. We know that a lot of our incoming students have ties to military and government work, and oftentimes Charlie and Devontae and the Student Veterans Association have a strong connection to them and to what they're interested in. And so the more opportunity we have to link the work we do in STEP to the work that they're doing in their office, the stronger we will be as a university community. Charlie has put together a tremendous group of resources for y'all today, and we're excited to put, again, some names and faces together for students as you begin your journey here at William & Mary. If at any point in time you have questions about how we can support or who you should be reaching out to, of course, feel free to reach out to STEP, but I'm also going to defer to Charlie and my colleagues here in the room as potential connections as we go through the academic year. So Charlie, with my piece being said, I turn the program over to you and Devontae to take us through, and look forward to connecting with folks again soon. And just let me know how I can be of help.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lauren. And thank you for going through the acronym, the new acronym for your office, because I know that if I took a stab at it, I would forget the P, which I now remember as programs. So that's great. So thank you so much. I'm Charlie Foster. I'm the director of the Office of Student Veteran Engagement. And so it is my pleasure to welcome new military and veteran students to William & Mary. I think it is no exaggeration that I am excited that you're here, but we're all excited that you're here. You know, I work with admissions as soon as I know that the deadline is coming up for admits to find out who we're getting. And so when I say I'm excited, I mean for the last several months, I have had my eye on who's coming. So this is a great culmination. This is a great day to see our new students. In the fall, we had our most military and veteran undergraduate students ever that we've ever had since we started counting in 2016. So not only is it a great day, but it's a great time to be a military or veteran student at William & Mary, or in my case, to be lucky enough to work with military and veteran students. So I am here to help you orientate to William & Mary. There are 3,000 employees at the college, and I am the one for military and veteran students. So when everything that you've got going on is going great, I'm very happy about that. But whenever you run into any kind of issue, I'm here to support you. So that can mean sending an email on your behalf, maybe making a phone call, setting a meeting. Basically, my office is there as just a place to drop your gear if you need to run to the dining hall or run an errand or anything like that. Basically, what I want to do is be a place, be a person who works on your behalf and a place where you feel like you belong on campus. So that is just a little introduction to the Office of Student Veteran Engagement. I'm a Marine Corps veteran myself. I was a student veteran twice, first in the undergraduate to get my bachelor's degree, just like you, and then again to get my master's degree in higher education administration, which I actually attended the School of Education here at William and Mary. In that program, I studied how to navigate higher education so that you don't have to learn it all on your own by yourself. I actually have a graduate assistant in the Office of Student Veteran Engagement, Devontae Allen. He's on the call. He is in the same program. And you're going to hear more from him shortly. But this brunch, this now virtual brunch, but soon hopefully will be an in-person brunch, has changed a lot over the years to include content and guest speakers that student veterans have requested. So this is something that students have said in their feedback loop. As we always want to make changes that benefit everybody the most, they've said, these are the people who are most important to know on campus. So this is straight from the student veterans' mouths themselves, and that's how we put this program together. But now I will turn it over to the one and only Devontae Allen to share just a little bit more about how we work in our office. So Devontae, thank you for being here, and take it from here.
Of course. Like Charlie was saying, my name is Devontae. I'm the grad student at the OSVE. I'm also a first year in the higher education program. So I'm pretty new to the school, just like you all. Now, I never served in the military, but I did grow up with two Army parents, and they're also both student veterans as well. And so I helped a lot with them filing their GI benefits to get their education. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about our communication strategy within the office. Now, we pride ourselves on being accessible. And like Charlie said before, we're here to support you. Now, we have office hours every single weekday for at least 1 hour. Most of our office hours are going to be virtual, but we do have 2 days in person on campus. You'll be able to find the schedule for our office hours on our website, or you can find it posted on our door. We also like to stay in contact with y'all, so we'll be sending a few emails every week to inform you all of relevant announcements, job openings, academic opportunities, etc. And all of these events and offerings will be posted on our link tree, which will be included in the email, and then also on our website in the calendar or announcements tab. If you want more more personal individual information about sort of the student veteran experience, we do have a club on campus, the Student Veterans at William & Mary. Our president of that club, Paul, is actually on this call, and he'll talk about that a little bit later. But they hold multiple social media platforms, and they'll be able to provide you great info as well. And they also hold a GroupMe, which is a chat social media app, and you will be able to ask anybody any question that you need if you don't feel like coming to myself or Charlie. Anything else you want me to talk about, Charlie?
No, that's great. We definitely want to hear from everybody. You know, when you think about Devontae's case, he is learning from you as you talk to him. So that's the great thing about the higher education administration program, is working with students is our job when we're in the program. So he's a graduate assistant, so he's getting his tuition paid for to work with the students. But students also teach every time they open their mouths. And so when we say that we want the William & Mary overall to be student-centered, the only way to make it student-centered is with that student feedback, like the kind that we use to design this program. So if you ever think to yourself, oh, you know, I don't want to inconvenience Charlie, definitely inconvenience me. But if you think, oh, I don't want to burden Devontae with this, it actually isn't a burden at all. It really helps him, you know, go on to write a paper about students and what students need, whether it's about student veterans or about students in general. So let's burden Devontae with work is what I'm saying. So no, but we really appreciate everything he's done to revolutionize the office and the communication and scheduling and all that during a pandemic. So it's great to work with Devontae. Next up, I am going to introduce the Student Veterans of William & Mary's academic advisor. So we have Harvey Langholtz on the call. Harvey is one of the many folks on William & Mary's campus who wants to support student veterans, and Harvey is actually a veteran himself. So Harvey, would you take it from there?
Good. Thanks, Charlie. Good to see everybody. Thanks, Lauren. Thanks, Devontae. Good to see everybody else. Yes, I'm a professor here, and I'm for you 100%. I'm glad to be at this Veterans Lunch. I always bring this point up, though, Charlie. I really think that veterans brunches like this, you need to serve creamed beef on toast. I keep asking about this. We never seem to get there. I haven't had it in years. I used to make it myself, but okay, maybe you can put that on the feedback for for the future. So yeah, it's good to see everybody. As Charlie said, my name is Harvey Langholtz. I'm a professor in the Department of Psychological Sciences. My specialty is decision theory, and I teach decision theory. So even though I'm in the Department of Psychology, Psychological Sciences, don't think of me as some soft psychoanalyst. I don't have the patience for that. If somebody came to me with something wrong, I'd say, why are you acting this way? Why don't you just stop? That's not my thing. As I said, I teach decision theory, which is a combination of how people think about decisions, cognitive aspects of decisions, mathematical models for decision making, and also applied decision making and decision theory. I spent 23 years in the United States Coast Guard. It was my pleasure, my privilege, my honor, and I miss it, but it's good. It's good to be here at William & Mary. It's all good in the Coast Guard. I've got nothing but good things to say about the Coast Guard, my years there. Sometimes I try and encourage William & Mary students to join the Coast Guard. So far I've had one, and actually he was already sort of steering in that direction, but I try and not hit him too hard. But welcome to each one of you. I'll have about a 5 or 10 minute talk here about some of the academic sides of William & Mary and some things to think about, not only in terms of academics, but adjusting to William & Mary. So a warm welcome to our new veterans, students, and returning veterans. William & Mary is an excellent college. It has high academic standards and high admission standards. And I want to make it clear, you are here, new veteran students, you're here for one reason, and that is because you met those standards. There's no asterisk, there's no limitation, there's no, you are here because you competed for something that's very difficult to get. And that very difficult to get thing is admission to William & Mary. And that's why you're here. You're here because you belong here. You're here because the admissions college screened many students and looked at your background, your scores, your abilities, and yes, frankly, probably your time as a veteran, and decided that you were among the few who would be admitted. So congratulations. I welcome you to this experience. We all have to adjust. COVID is going to make it different. I remember starting college or starting graduate school, and the whole idea of, you come together and you meet people and you go to the classroom. All right, this is going to be a little different with COVID. I don't know if it's going to be next semester or the semester after that. Eventually, COVID will be a thing of history. It'll be past. But in the meantime, we have to make this adjustment. And it might be a little difficult, but just keep your focus, hang in there. Even if you're not surrounded by people, you are on a network with people who want to see your success and engagement. So you're not watching this on television. Just because it's on the screen doesn't mean you're not there. You're a student, you're 100%. You're at William & Mary. And try and keep that focus. I can only imagine how hard it is, not only for you veterans, but for every student. I say this at the beginning of every class now. Look, this is a classroom. I'm your professor, you're my student. We have a relationship. We are here to study these things and to do this together. COVID makes this a little harder. We'll be past that. But you have people here who want to see your success, and I should say, starting right from the very top, our President Rowe. Veterans on campus, she's behind this. She has taken concrete steps. It's not just sort of a passing thing to give lip service to for her. She's committed right from the very top, and Charlie can echo that. I know he's seen this firsthand. So you have that support right from the top down. There are strengths that you developed in the military, and those strengths will serve you well here. Charlie started to mention some of that with his background in journalism or in the military. But anybody in the military, whatever your job is, you know how to be goal focused. You know self-discipline. You know how to keep your cool under pressure. You have maturity. These skills that you learned in the military and you developed in the military are skills that will put you in good standing here as you enter and continue in William & Mary. Let me also go through some pointers in terms of how to succeed in terms of academics. Let me be clear, William & Mary undergraduates are smart. I realized this when I first arrived on campus as a professor. I had been talking for a few sessions, and there weren't really a whole lot of questions. There wasn't a whole lot of interaction. So I thought, well, let me, I'm going to pose a question to them. And this was made me very clear to me just how smart they are. So I posed what I thought was sort of a simple and straightforward and answerable question. And they just sort of looked at me politely. Nobody answered. So I kind of gave them a hint. I made it a little easier. They still looked at me kind of blankly. I made it easier. Nobody answered. Okay. I realized it was too easy. It was too easy for them. They wanted a challenge. So, okay. So I ramped it up from then on and everything went fine. But my point is they are smart. They get it. They have been to the best high schools and they graduate at the top of their class. They are smart, have a lot of respect for the undergraduates. There are times when I teach something, and I'll tell you a little secret, I didn't even really understand it all that well myself. I just sort of managed to work my way through it on my PowerPoint notes. I didn't really understand that. They get 100 on the test. I don't think I could have gotten 100 on my own test, but they got 100 on the test. They're smart. Let me be clear about this though. I have a phrase. They are little test-taking machines. They know how to come to class, pay attention, take the notes, get it, and come back on the test and do it. So don't be discouraged if in the very beginning you find a lot of competition from these students who will be 4, 6, 8 years younger than you are. Don't be discouraged. Don't be discouraged. You just have to get used to it. If you feel like the first quiz that you get, the first test you get, you're disappointed, don't be discouraged. I'll tell you another little secret. When I started graduate school, the first quiz, the very first one, professor said he's going to give unannounced quizzes. Okay, sure. There's not going to be a lot of points. Okay, and I kind of thought he's going to do it early in the semester. So I was ready. I studied. I was ready. It was a 3-point quiz. You know what I got? 0. 0 on my first 3-point quiz. Okay, if that happens to you, my friends, don't be discouraged. The students around you are smart. They get it. Your military background will see you through. Hang in there, and it will work out from there. Read the syllabus carefully. I'm the professor. I put things in my syllabus because they're important. Read the syllabus. Don't just gloss through it. Read the syllabus and think about what are the chapters, what are the topics, what are we covering here? The professor put those items in the syllabus because they're important. Attend every class. Take detailed notes. Attend every lab and review them. If possible, ask the professor for his or her PowerPoints. Not every professor will do that, but even if they don't, you can see them, you can take notes, get those PowerPoints down, or the lecture notes, or whatever format they may take. Read the book, do the assigned readings, read the journal articles, keep current on the readings. Here and there, I see students start to fall behind, and I can tell they have not done the readings. And when I ask a question on the exam, they have not done the readings. That's the minority, but you have to keep up. Don't wait until the night before the exam. Do the readings all the way along. Another little hint here. On the exam, read the question carefully and answer the question. I see this happen sometimes. I'll have a question on an exam and students won't really answer the question. Well, they get points off. Read the question, read that question very carefully and be sure you answer the question. If the professor says on the exam list, then make a list. If they say compare, then compare. Compare means first you discuss one, then you discuss the other, and then you compare the two. But here and there where I see problems with exams, these are often the problems. It's not necessarily the student didn't know it, they just didn't read the question. And sometimes I'll speak to them afterwards and I can see that say, oh my gosh, I knew that, I just didn't put it down. Okay, well, you have to put it down, you have to write it down. If it's not there, I can't give you credit for it. So read the question and be sure to answer the question. Learn to write well. The ability to communicate well in speaking and in writing. These are very important skills. These skills can be honed. We have a writing center here. It's in the basement of Swim Library. Work on your writing. And I'm not saying, I'm not trying to pick on anybody. it's important for everybody to work on their writing. Just think about it. Think about your writing. Reread it, re-edit it. Ask somebody else to read it. Take suggestions in a constructive way. Sometimes people can be defensive about this writing. What? How dare you criticize my writing? No, your colleague is there to help you. So find ways to improve your writing, whatever level you're at. Try to find ways to make that writing better. These are just very important skills. There are academic opportunities outside the classroom. Okay, in the beginning, you're probably focused on your classroom work. That's fine. But don't just stop there. By the time you're in your sophomore, certainly junior year, you should be looking for academic opportunities outside the classroom. For example, doing research in conjunction with a professor. There are both structured and unstructured ways to do this. The structured ways, and I'll just talk about in the psych department, we have two courses, Psych 490 and 491. There I work one-on-one with students. Psych 490 is directed readings. Psych 491 is independent research. I'm not saying you have to necessarily take those courses with me, but the point is, sure, you enroll in the academic courses and you enroll in a class, a standard classroom setting, but also seek out these individual opportunities to focus on an area of your own interest and work with a professor doing that research. You can go on, I'm maybe getting a little ahead here, in your senior year, you can do honors. Honors means you work again with a professor on a specific focus topic. It's 2 semesters, three credits per semester for a total of 6, and you develop your own research. And then you earn the degree with honors. It's not a question of GPA, it's a question of this other project. My point here is look for academic opportunities outside the classroom. Keep a balance of work. Work meaning work and life. Try not to be stressed out. Sure, we do what we can. And I find with veterans, this is usually not a problem. You've dealt with situations a lot more stressful than the classroom setting, but don't be stressed. It's okay to get a B. It's okay. You have to balance work, family, health, outside life. So don't be concerned if you don't have the highest GPA. At the end of the day, you will graduate from William and Mary, even if you got a B, even if you got a C. I'm not trying to discourage you from doing your best academically, but don't be concerned. Don't fret over it. Sometimes I see some undergraduates, it's all about GPA. Look. Calm down. It's not all about GPA. Just learn it, develop, grow, and that's more important. Charlie introduced me as the academic advisor for military, and yes, I'm certainly glad to be your academic advisor. Let's talk about this for a minute. Right now, new students coming in have what we call a pre-major advisor. You've probably already been assigned your pre-major academic advisor. So I can't substitute for that. They have your PIN that you will need to enroll. But I always tell the advising office, please send the veterans to me. I feel like I can connect a little better. I understand a little better. There's an immediate bonding there. So even if I'm not assigned as your academic advisor, if you have questions about academics, call me, find me. Again, I'm in the psych department. I give you my email address. It's hjlang@wm.edu, Langholtz. So you go in the psych department, you'll see my, in case you don't write that down, you'll see me there. And I'll be glad to serve as your informal academic advisor, even if I'm not your assigned academic advisor. Let me go on to some sort of points of cultural differences you can expect as part of this transition. Your classmates will be younger than you are. Okay, they're younger. Okay, they're less mature than you are. They are less developed than you are. Maybe in the beginning, there will be the first 10 minutes of a little sort of fitting in, or why am I here in a room full of people who are 4, 6, 8 years younger than I am. Okay, that'll go away. And once the whole process starts, you learn the same material, you take the same test, and you're on your way. So don't be discouraged by that. In fact, be patient with them. They won't have the level of maturity that you will have. And you will even see a great deal of variability. Some of the undergraduates that you see sitting next to you will be fully formed adults and mature. Some, frankly, will be late adolescents. They'll be smart, but they'll be late adolescents, and they just might not really fully understand about relationships or acceptance of people who are outside what they're accustomed to. Frankly, some, don't get me wrong, I have nothing but respect for our William & Mary undergraduate population. They're great, they're smart, but frankly, some will have led protected lives, and you will be new to them, and they will not immediately adjust to you. Accept that and move on. They will respect you for your maturity. Let's also talk for a moment about direct talk versus softer talk. Military people tend to be very straightforward. I hope I am too. You ask me a question, I tell you what I have to say. That's it. We tend to take criticism well. We take suggestions well. Not every undergraduate and not every late adolescent these days will be ready for that. They're accustomed to maybe softer talk. Okay, so get ready for that. When you see a professor, sometimes there's a little, people aren't sure, how do I address a professor? Call your professor, professor, okay? And when you write to them in an email, write to them, say, Dr. Smith, or Professor Smith. Do not start an email with hey, okay? I know people write to each other informally. Don't write to your professor and start with hey. It happens once or twice a semester. Every time it does, I tell the undergraduate, no, you don't address me as hey. So they just be aware of that. And as far as your relationship with your professor, they will respect you. They will pick up quickly on the fact that you're a veteran. They will have an extra measure of recognition and respect for what you have contributed, what you have volunteered for, and the fact that you're now William & Mary. So there's my quick welcome talk. I repeat what I said, that you are here because you competed for a place and earned it. I'm happy to help you in any way I can in terms of academics or anything else. I congratulate you on your service. It was my pleasure to serve in uniform, and I congratulate you on yours. So thanks, Charlie. Good to be here.
Thanks, Harvey. And you really kind of took us through the life cycle. Just like imagine the psychology professor being able to explain, the beginning, the sense that I'm different in this classroom from my classmates. But I think you're exactly right. I think that is the beginning. And so it's great to have you as a resource to help us plan for that. So I really appreciate it. Next up, we have our brand new faculty advisor for the student veterans of William & Mary. So our longtime faculty advisor retired at the end of the fall semester. We appreciate all the work that he has done. And now Bill Skimmyhorn has stepped into the breach. So he's borrowing trouble. That's what I say, is working with the student veterans. No, we're so happy to have him. So thank you, Bill, for joining us, and the floor is yours.
Thanks, Charlie, and thanks for organizing our session today. And I just want to say thanks to everyone here on the call for their time and their efforts. If it's not obvious to the students, I guess it's obvious to those who have been part of this community that there's just a tremendous supporting community here at William & Mary, and I think we're all very proud of that and happy to be a part of it. So thanks for the invitation and the chance to be here. As Charlie mentioned, I'm the new faculty advisor for the Student Veterans of America, and I'm excited to be a part of that role. I'm also an assistant professor of economics and finance at the Mason School of Business. I'm a retired Army officer here in my third year at William & Mary on the faculty. And my research interests are primarily related to financial decision-making and human capital acquisition. So I'm very interested in how people make decisions surrounding their education, and have studied that as well, especially sometimes in the context of the military and veterans. So I care deeply about each of you personally, and have spent some of my time at least researching those topics a little more widely. Just a few quick thoughts. It's a tough act to follow Professor Langholtz, and if I probably should just be quiet and say hear, hear, because I second essentially everything that he just told you. I have not been on the faculty as long as he has, but my experience to date really echo the lessons that he just shared with you. So maybe my comments will be brief, but reinforce a few of those key themes. The first thing that I would just want to mention is that you are now part of the tribe, and you may or may not recognize how significant that is, but we are a community here that cares a great deal about each other, not just veterans, but all members of our community. So we are inclusive and supportive, and everyone on this call represents a whole office or a whole organization, a community of people that's here for you. So that's pretty humbling, pretty exciting. And also I hope for you, not just welcoming, but it's a little bit of a duty. We want you to be a part of that community too. And we need you to be a part of that community to support us, to support your fellow students. And so that's kind of what I would just begin with, is that you were part of a tribe when you were in the military. You are part of a tribe now. And we are certainly welcoming you here. Second thing I'd like to say is you are very well positioned to succeed here. You would not be here if that was not the case. You have blazed your own path. Every veteran that finds their way to William and Mary to admission has blazed an incredible path. Sometimes you've had some people help you along the way. Sometimes you've had to go out and figure it out all on your own. And so we salute you for that. We know that you will blaze your own path even here, and even with our assistance. We hope to make that a little bit less formidable at times and maybe help you find some of the paths that are a little easier to go down or to find the right resources. But you have demonstrated your tremendous capabilities. And so as Professor Langholtz said, you wouldn't be here if you couldn't succeed. So to support your success, I guess, not just at William & Mary, but I hope that William & Mary for you is really just part of a larger plan that you may have or that you're still developing. I just have a few very quick kind of thoughts. The first is to prioritize your own family and your own well-being. That's not something specific to the coronavirus, although of course that's added significant stresses and complications. But whatever you're trying to do with your education is part of your bigger life plan, and that includes what you're doing with your family. And so please make sure that that's always, I guess, first and foremost in your mind, and that will help you succeed in your school and your career. The second is to stay really focused on your academics, as Professor Langholtz said, and especially at least initially. And that doesn't mean that it's all about the grade or the GPA. It does mean that you really want to find your way in this academic community, and it may differ considerably from the academic communities that you've been a part of. So your classes will be very challenging, maybe even more so than you've ever encountered. But you're here because you've earned the right to be here, and you have all of the tools to succeed. So even though you're embarking on a new journey, a very difficult one, I want you to welcome those challenges, okay? And put yourself in the position to succeed, probably by getting off to a very good start. So it may be in your interest to allocate a little more time, perhaps even double the time that you think about studying as you begin your first semester. And it's always easier to dial back than it is to catch back up. One thing that served me well in my time in the service when I was in school was to really treat your studies like your full-time job, okay? And I know that in a remote learning environment, that's perhaps strange because I don't know how much you'll be coming to campus or not. But if you're to treat that like your full-time job and dedicate yourself to it, I have no doubt that you will succeed here. But as Professor Langholtz mentioned, you may have an adjustment period, okay? There will be some papers or some quizzes or some tests that don't go the way that you anticipated. Or you may employ some heuristics or some study guides or patterns that have served you well in the past that may not serve you well here as you adjust to a new professor, to a new topic, or to a new requirement or level of standards. So take those setbacks just as opportunities to learn and grow. I have no doubt that you will. And I want to tell you to not fall victim to the imposter syndrome, okay? So everyone on this call will have some lesson for you about sometime in their life, probably even when they came to William & Mary, where we all felt like a bit of an imposter. Like, how is it that I've actually arrived here? Can I succeed here? This is not exactly as easy as I thought. Everybody around me seems so amazing. But guess what? You're not an imposter. You belong here. You belong in this community. So anyway, stay focused on your academics. Those will tend to make the rest of your life go a little bit better. Now, having said that, one of the real hallmarks and distinguishing features of this William and Mary community is everything that goes on outside of the classroom. So Mark Twain told us not to let our schooling get in the way of our education, and I don't want you to do that either. The extracurricular activities, the mentoring relationships that you will build with the people on this call and with others, the opportunities for internships, externships, and other work opportunities are really second to none here. And the tribe community that I began talking about today is a community that will be invested in you and your success. And so I don't want you to think only about your classes. And as Professor Langholtz mentioned, I don't want you to think of your experience now, even though we're online primarily, to think of as I'm just watching this. I'm sort of a passive participant in your development. Okay, you are at the center of your own development, but there are many people dedicated to helping you. So I hope you'll find ways, even remotely, to fully immerse yourself in the William and Mary community and the developmental experience. So in closing, I just want to say personally that I look forward to getting to know you. I am happy to meet with you at your leisure to talk about your own personal goals, academic goals, professional goals, your background. And I will just close by reminding you again that we are a tribe that supports you, one that will challenge you, but one that also needs you to make it continue to grow and succeed. So thanks for the opportunity to meet with you here today.
Thank you, Bill. We're so happy to have you again in this increased role, working with the student veterans, and both Bill and Harvey are going to be on our veterans mailing list too. So at a minimum, you know, they are accessible via email, and one of the first messages that I'm going to send actually tomorrow is going to include their contact information, and now it's in the chat too. So you are welcome to reach out to either of our faculty and academic advisors or me or Devontae with anything you've got. But another person that you're going to want to keep on your speed dial, if speed dials are still a thing, is Paul Brenkus, who is the president of the Student Veterans of William and Mary, our SVA chapter. So Paul, you are up next, and the floor is yours to tell everybody what it is that you do and how excited you are to have them.
Yeah, thank you, Charlie. I really appreciate you giving me some time to talk to new students. I want to thank the people that have gone so far, Lauren, Harvey, and Bill and Devontae. Really appreciate you guys and everybody here taking time to welcome our new students. I do have a short PowerPoint that we can go through, so I'm officially ready to kick off the first PowerPoint of the day. So I'm just going to pull that up really quick. All right, can everybody see that? Good, okay. So just a little bit about me first. I spent 9 years as an active duty member in the United States Navy. Most of my time was spent in Norfolk on board the USS Enterprise, and then a regional maintenance center in Norfolk. Lots of welding, lots of woodworking, lots of plumbing, all the good stuff that keeps me below decks and stops me from seeing daylight at days at a time. I joined the tribe family in January of 2020, so I joined right at the perfect time as the pandemic came into fold here in the United States. To say that was a challenge was an understatement, but with everybody in this chat room, they all helped me to really become acquainted to the tribe family and really made this a new home for me. So well, it's just such an honor to be sharing this platform with everybody in this room, and I'll start the PowerPoint. So why is the Student Veterans of William and Mary worth your time? So camaraderie and support. So just like Harvey and Bill, Charlie and Devontae said already, we are one unit here at William and Mary. We're all family and we're part of a tribe. When you join the tribe family or the William and Mary family, you're not just joining the undergraduate population as their tribe, but you're also joining the veterans here on campus as a tribe as well. And we're all looking out for each other. We're all giving each other advice. We're all hanging out together and speaking. And we kind of make that transition from the active duty lifestyle in the military over here at William and Mary. So a sense of purpose, and it's just not always about academics. It's always about, and it's also about us coming together and really trying to make a difference here on campus as well as our community. And I'll touch on that a little bit later. Collective power. So as an enlisted personnel, we always found strength in numbers, working together, and we're really able to really get the job done as well here on campus and on in the community and nationally as well. So resume building, I have to do a huge shout out for resume building and networking to Tiny Nations, who's been working with veterans, and you'll hear from her in just right after me actually about resume building. She is our designated guru for resume building and networking. If you want to extend your arms out into an internship, an externship, redo your resume, she is the person to go to for sure. She has the connections. If you just want to talk as well, she's the perfect person to go to in case you need some extra help in any area really. And I have firsthand experience with that with her. So and you'll hear more from her in a minute. So just a quick progress report for the veterans here. So since our beginning, we've identified and increased membership throughout 2020. As we all know, 2020 was just such a crazy year, but we're still moving in a positive direction. And that's where we want to go is we always want to be in the green, moving in a positive direction, always trying to get our numbers up because like the slide before, the more people we get, the more cohesive we get and the more power we get to really make change here on campus and nationally. So we every semester we conduct green zone training, and this last semester we did it with the Cohen Career Center. And basically what that does is we have a panel of military veterans that does training. We have questions that we answer. We talk a little bit about ourselves, but we really get the staff here at William & Mary acquainted with who a veteran is and how they think, how they approach situations. In this case, the Cohen Career Center, how we look at the job market, how we look at interviews and internships, externships, and how they can better help us get into those roles a lot easier. So we held our first ILVC conference, which is the Ivy League Veterans Council. I'll talk a little bit more about that later. I have a page about that. But it's all the Ivy Leagues in the nation come together and do a conference where there's lots of networking and there's quite a bit of connections going on. We hear what other Ivy Leagues are doing good in their veterans affairs, what we can work on as veterans on campus and in the community, and then we all kind of collaborate and see basically how we can go forward and make a positive difference. So we started our first semester of the Veteran Sponsorship Program this past fall. It was a really big success where the transition from a enlisted personnel coming into William & Mary, they were assigned a sponsor, just like if you had moved or transferred commands in your military service, you're assigned a sponsor, and that person is there to answer each and every question you have. If they don't have the answer, they'll find it for you. They'll get you in touch with any resources that you need, as well as just talking about trying to get a company to campus in general and really learning how to navigate William & Mary and the academic lifestyle that we have here. And then we won a part of William & Mary's Impact Week contest to provide needed goods for homeless veterans in Hampton Roads area. This was a huge feat that we accomplished. This, if you don't know, in Hampton Roads, 1 in 4 homeless people in the Hampton Roads area are veterans. So we were really able to pull together as a team, as well as market what we were trying to serve as to the rest of the undergraduate community, and we were able to get some extra funding to give really needed goods to the homeless veterans in the Hampton Roads area. Just a little bit more, we created and quoted the new student veterans of William & Mary apparel. This will be rolling out here in the spring for you all to purchase, as well as us purchase. So it's like a new design to really just show off who we are here at William & Mary. And then in progress, we have new speaker sessions. So once a month, on top of other events that we'll be doing, we'll have new speakers come in. Our first speaker is going to be Bob Merkel, who's the new special assistant to the president of the college on Veterans Affairs. It's a huge guest. We're going to be coming to help us blaze the path forward for veterans here on campus, as well as some senators. A senator will be coming later this semester. We have some previous presidents of the student veterans here on campus. They'll be coming out to speak with us to show where their progress here at William & Mary, as well as in the private and public sector. So University Connections is something we're also working on as well, trying to get connection, not just with Ivy League schools, but other large veteran councils around the nation. So working with schools like University of Michigan, who has a large undergraduate population, lots of connections, trying to make that network with them, as well as the University of Nebraska, who also has one of the largest Midwestern veteran networks as well, trying to get with that college and really trying to make a nice cohesive bond with them as well. So the Ivy League Veteran Council, so it consists of Brown, Harvard, Stanford, Princeton, UPenn, University of Chicago, of course, William & Mary, us, Dartmouth, and Cornell. And so we hosted our first Ivy League Veteran Council this past fall. It was virtually, which was the first done in the entire council's history. Huge shout out to the veterans before me who took care of that and were able to successfully navigate that obstacle. So like I said before, all these schools send veteran representatives to us and us to them, and we're able to really say what is going on in our community here on campus, able to network, talk about resumes, talk about what's going good for their veteran population, so that we could possibly adopt some of their practices as well as they adopt some of our practices. So it's not just like we're all getting together, it's also like building a community, a larger community, so that we can really learn from each other. And then also these schools, as well as us, work as a building block for students, because now we have connections at all these schools. So if you want to go from here, of course, we always want to keep here, never leave. But if you do want to go onward to also bigger and brighter things, we have connections at these schools. If you want to continue your education, everybody here is open to helping each other out. So. Okay, so future goals and objectives, just to build off that. So we want to provide a well-balanced opportunities during a hybrid academic setting. Obviously, if you haven't heard already, we're having a mixed sessions for academics here, whether you're going to be fully online or a mix of in-class and online. We still want to provide the health and wellness and the social and career aspects that you would if you were on campus. So that's going to be rolling out here in the spring as well. Trying to have classes for wellness. So speaking, like I said, speaking sessions, not just with people that used to go here or senators, but also with each other, taking time out of our schedules to just talk to each other, and try and knock down those walls or barriers to just keep that social aspect. And then wellness, we're also trying to work with the rec center as well as the wellness center, try and get some classes for whether it's working out or yoga or anything like that, trying to keep you active, keep you moving, keep your brain moving, stimulated. And then career, and that goes back into the speaker sessions, just trying to get you to think about the future. Although I highly recommend, and I'm guilty of this, don't look too far in the future or you'll start forgetting what you're presently in. So but it's always good to keep that kind of in your mind, keep a path going forward. So formalized partnerships with private and public sector organizations, along with Tonya, as well as our other past presidents and people that have gone here, we have quite a big connections with government organizations, both private and public organizations. We try and make as many as we can each semester, and I'd say we're doing pretty well. So that's always what we're trying to do, is make the transition from your academics all the way through until you get picked up by one of these organizations. So Enhance One Tribe, Many Stories. So this is a part of our community where we try and tell our story as veterans. We want the population here at William & Mary to really know who we are and what we have to offer by telling our story. Another goal that I'm trying to, as well as others are trying to do, is get more time in the Flat Hat, which is our local newspaper here on campus, and Gazette, I guess you'd say, to try and tell our story a little bit more. And then expand alumni engagement via Tribe 1775 network and public IV veterans groups. That kind of goes along with the ILVC, really trying to branch out and make new connections with alumni, not just across our community, but across nationally, and make more opportunities for you here while you're serving time here. And then improve faculty awareness and attendance of Green Zone training. So that goes on top of the stories, trying to make our presence on campus here more well known more, and sharing our stories, sharing who we are, so that everybody kind of knows where we're coming from and what we can offer to the tribe in general. So executive board member opportunities, these are things that if you want to become involved in the veterans community in a higher level position. Of course, there's president, vice president, treasurer, and chief of staff. Every term runs from November to November, and voting goes in September. So if you feel like you want to become a member of the executive cabinet, please feel free to reach out. We're always looking for people that want to get involved. It doesn't even have to be really any of these at all. You can, if you want to be more involved but not hold one of these positions, trust me, we'll take it. We will take every single ounce that you have to give, and we'll make sure that it pays you in dividends. So local veterans resources, of course, we host meetings monthly with the activities that we have going on for this semester. Unfortunately, but fortunately, it's all going to be virtual, just with everything going on campus and the world and whatnot. We will make sure that everybody's safe, everybody doesn't feel like they're putting themselves at risk or health risk. So we're going to hold everything virtually. And I also believe we have veterans that are not even in the state of Virginia. So I believe we have one person in New England right now. So I don't want to have her, hey, come to campus for an hour. We're going to hold every single thing virtually. And then with the events, it may be not just once a semester or once a month, but it may end up being twice a month, just so we can fit as much activities in as we can, so that you get the most out of our organization. And then myself, Devontae, Charlie, will be sending out emails periodically just to ensure that everything's up to date. We try and be as transparent as possible. So any information that we get in, we want to push out to you because it's only going to benefit you. I get a lot of emails from the ILVC, people at Princeton, Harvard on scholarships, even the Student Veterans America scholarships, job opportunities, any type of events that you could think of. I just push it out to you all because I want you to succeed here on campus and stay active. So student accessibility services, you'll hear from Anna Whiston here in a minute, and she's going to talk a little bit more about that. But if you have any accessibility things that you need to take of, you can talk to her and she'll explain a lot better than I will. So I'm just gonna leave her to that. And then of course, William and Mary VA benefits certifying official, our very own Carolyn Ward. We'll be speaking more on that shortly. And she's basically our godsend from certifying all of our classes to make sure that you get your money every single month and that your GI Bill is taken care of. Any questions you have, she's always there. So that's we're very lucky to have her, as well as Anna and of course Tonya. So and if there's any questions, please feel free to give me a shout out. I'm going to put my email here in the chat real quick, and that is it. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thanks, Paul. I definitely want to second the encouragement for signing up for one of the exec board slots, nominating oneself or one's friends to join that. But I also want to highlight William and Mary's No Title Needed initiative, which is where we're encouraged to be leaders, even if we don't have a specific title in an organization. And a great example of that is one of the new student veterans in his very first semester at William and Mary saw that the student veterans did not have a group me and decided that there should be one and created it himself. And now it is a place where I can get made fun of when I shave my beard. So there's also military themed memes on there and advice, you know, where the students post, hey, tomorrow is registration and veterans are allowed to begin registering at 07 bright and early. So lots of really good reminders on there. So thanks for sharing all that, Paul. And we're so glad to have this, what surely must be the best Student Veterans of America chapter in the universe. So thanks for leading that. Up next, I think we need no introduction because you've mentioned her. Tonya Nations is the Director of Career Advising and Assessment over at the Cohen Career Center. And I saw from my email just now that I didn't even send her the link to join the Zoom. So she's so amazing. I guess she hacked in here. I guess she's now a hacker in addition. But we're so glad that you could make it, Tonya, against all odds.
Thank you, Charlie. Yes, I've got connections. That's what Career Center people do, right? Make connections. Devontae, thank you. I appreciate the introduction and what Paul said. I'm glad that he found our talks helpful, and I get to know you, and before I know it, you're gone, you know, and I'm glad because you've got something to go to, but man, you come through William and Mary and it's too soon. But that's life, right? In the Career Center, we're that bookend to the academic portion where you spend a lot of time at the beginning. And there are lots of career activities you can engage in while you're here, but many folks tend to gravitate toward career centers toward the end of their career, the last couple of years. And what I've done is I put together just a page to give you an idea of how we're preparing ourselves and how we're growing the services that we offer. One tricky thing that I have found is that every student at William and Mary, they're not quite sure how to use the Career Center. So I thought that I'd put this in the welcome. We're actually based on an industry model. So it doesn't matter what you major in, it's that goal that you're shooting for, that industry. And if you don't know what industry or how you want to use your education, we've got that covered as well. But our primary industries are business, creative careers, education, human services, public service, and STEM. And you'll find that what you want to do usually fits in one of those areas. We have a team of career advisors available to you, but I am the primary advisor for student and veterans, and I'll put my email address in the chat as well. So please do contact me. We'll set up an appointment, email me, and we'll do that. We'll start talking here. The other things that each of these industry advisors do is have some specialized knowledge on internships and other forms of experiential learning, as well as just about anything that you'd want to do after you finish your program here at William and Mary. Now, this middle piece I wanted to share with you. I was really surprised when you creating something, you think, well, we don't have what they might have at Syracuse or ODU or, you know, any other of the institutions that have had support in their career centers around veterans for a longer period of time. But I thought, well, I'm going to collect what we have. And I was surprised, you know, how strong we've grown in this last year, partnering with Charlie and Devontae. It's just been fantastic partnering with Anna. She'll see some things in here as well. Student accessibility services, first year programs. I mean, it's a great partnership. So if you look at resources here in the middle, we've got the ONET Military Crosswalk, which is a fantastic resource available to anyone. It's out there for the public, and it helps translate items on your resume from military speak to whatever industry that you're targeting. We've got alumni connections. If we don't have them, we'll try to make them. You've got your dedicated advisor. That's me again. We've got weekly contributions to Linktree. We amped that up with Devontae this past year, and I think we hit just about every week in the semester with something for student veterans and their career development. And then, of course, we have the industry newsletters. So again, if you know your industry, you can sign up for the newsletters. It comes to you and it reminds you on a weekly or bi-weekly basis what's coming up in your field. To the right, you'll see programs. Every Monday at 5 for February and March of this semester, you can drop in, email me, let me know if you want to have a drop-in time, just 5-10 minutes or longer if no one's there. Drop-in hours or an hour for you set aside just for student veterans. Email me and I'll send you the Zoom link. That's going to be advertised by our Student Veterans Center. Of course, we're talking at orientation each fall around November 11th. You recognize that date. We have Navigating Your Career as a Veteran. And so we have a panel that involves employers, alumni who are veterans or hire veterans, talk about navigating your career. So that's an annual event. The Federal Resume, we do talks on that frequently. That's a popular program for our veterans, and the Workforce Recruitment Program for people with disabilities. And that's what Anna and I and Andrew Martin in our office collaborate on. We also have Next Destination data. Move back to the left here. We're making more recruiting contacts in these fields because our student veterans have requested that. Employer panels on hiring veterans, that's in the works as well, and talks on things such as security clearances. So those last three are in the works, but the plan is there. And our team, as was mentioned, has gone through green zone training. The entire advising team has. We are now part, or at least I am, but some of my colleagues are too, part of the Veterans Affinity Group through our National Association. At the end of February, I'll be attending the NASPA Veterans Symposium, and we have ongoing conversations with other institutions that have strong veteran career support programs, you know, get ideas, best practices, things like that. As for recruitment goes, recruitment's open to all, fall and spring. Our employer partners, we have programs that they do as well. That's a different side of the house, but I can put you in touch with the right people, and they can put you in touch with these recruitment contacts in these different industries, and more, of course. We also try to designate, we're in the process of trying to designate veteran-friendly employers at annual career fairs. There are other designations like the Disabilities, willing to talk to freshmen. I mean, it's just a host of things, international student friendly. So it's all in that diversity recruitment model. And then of course, a list of top employers who recruit veterans. We have that, we've shared that, and that's more nationwide. But again, I'll drop my email address in the link. Glad to take any questions. Welcome you to come in. and hope that helps you understand how to use the Cohen Career Center.
Thank you so much, Tonya. You're not kidding. You know, it has been a whirlwind the last several years, and I think you've even formalized your veteran support in your job description, which means we got you forever. You can't get away from us now. But no, it has been great. You know, even the dedicated office hours just for veterans and things like that. So, thank you for all your work to support veterans and getting them those great careers, which we go around bragging about. So up next, we have not one, but two representatives from Student Accessibility Services. So we got damn near the whole office. So we are very lucky to have Anna Whiston and Tiffany Christian to tell us a little bit about accessibility services, which is vitally important for student veterans, but for everybody, for William & Mary to be the inclusive campus that we want to be. So thank you all so much for joining us, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Charlie. Good to see everyone. So I'm Anna Whiston. I've been at William & Mary in Student Accessibility Services for a little over a year and a half now, and have been serving as the interim director of the department for this semester. And we are right in the midst of an exciting leadership transition, and we are bringing Tiffany Christian on board. Figured we wouldn't spring a presentation on her like her first week in, but she agreed to at least be here, which is wonderful. Tiffany, do you want to take a second to introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. Tiffany Christian. I've been at William & Mary for the past 5 years, but new in this role, working with Anna in Student Accessibility Services. So excited to be here and excited to get to know all of you.
Awesome. And Tiffany is great. She'll be a great resource. Alrighty, so I'm going to share my screen. Just a second. Alrighty, so you'll find some of our contact information over here on the left. We are located on the first floor of the campus center, though like everyone these days, we are more virtual than physical. So we are doing all appointments over the phone and Zoom, which luckily we found has been working pretty well. So yeah, I'll just go through some of these common questions that we get about our office. So what does Student Accessibility Services do? We support students who have diagnosed conditions that impact one or more major life activity. Our work is guided by the Americans with Disabilities Act, but you'll often hear us use the phrase diagnosed condition rather than disability. And you know, it's an individual preference, but we do sometimes find that disability, folks sometimes have a narrow definition of what that means. And as a result, they sometimes think that our services aren't for them. But in reality, we serve a really wide range of students, whether it's students who have a learning disability, ADHD, diabetes, IBS, allergies, anxiety, mobility impairments. It's quite a wide spectrum. So if you're wondering if SAS services are for you, the best questions to ask yourself would be, do I have a diagnosed condition, or do I think I might have one? And does this diagnosed condition impact my life as a student? Whether that means it impacts reading, taking tests, living in the dorms, etc. And if the answers are yes, we strongly encourage you to connect with SAS. We've supported many student veterans, and we really enjoy working with this population. How does SAS support students? So the main way that we support students is through accommodations, which means creating a modification to the way things are usually done. For example, there are many reasons why a student might need some extra time to take a test due to the impact of their diagnosed condition. So an example of an accommodation might be extended time on tests. We can also connect students with assistive technology. For example, if a student has trouble taking notes in class, we can connect them with some cool recording devices, even something like a pen that has built-in recording. Those are just a few examples, but we think about, okay, what's the impact of the diagnosed condition, and how can we put something in place to try to offset that impact? A question that we often get from students, and particularly veteran students, is, are accommodations fair? We sometimes hear people concerns like, you know, I don't want to get special treatment. I don't want my professor to think that I'm looking for any sort of advantage. Well, this concern is understandable. The purpose of accommodations is to level the playing field, not to give students an advantage. So when we approve accommodations for students, we're very intentional about providing supports that do give that equal access and not an unfair advantage. So that's not something to worry about. If I think I need accommodations, when should I get them? We would say as soon as possible. Since accommodations are not retroactive, it's always best to start the process ASAP. So for example, say a student is approved for something like extended time on tests, it would only be in effect for tests that occur after that accommodation is approved. The student wouldn't be able to go back and take previous tests with the extended time. So good to do it as soon as possible. That said, we have students register with us throughout the academic year, literally every day of the academic year. So we certainly do that on a rolling basis and are happy to do that. Is it difficult to get accommodations? So after I stop speaking, I'm going to show a brief video that'll go through the process a little bit, but generally we try to be very flexible. Our goal is to give students equal access to their education, not to put up a lot of bureaucratic barriers. So we really try to be very flexible, especially for medical paperwork, which generally is part of the process. We know that especially for veterans, it can be difficult to get that paperwork. It can be pretty time consuming. So sometimes we can do something like put some temporary accommodations in place while we're waiting for that paperwork. So if you have those concerns, please don't let that dissuade you. We're happy to be flexible depending on your situation. Alrighty, so I will go to the video that'll go through the process a bit more. Just a moment.
So Anna, I think you might need to get the screen share menu and click a little button that says share computer sound also.
Mm-hmm. I guess I'm, 10 months into the pandemic, you would think I had encountered this by now, but I guess not. Say that one more time. What am I looking for?
So I think it's in the share screen menu, and it's a little click box or something where it says you share your share sound. Yeah, it's at the bottom left corner if you click share screen. And I learned it at this exact moment in the fall, trying to play the video.
Oh, I see it. I gotcha. Perfect. Thank you. Okay. Hopefully this will work. Let me know if not.
In this presentation, you will learn about how to register a diagnosed condition with Student Accessibility Services, or SAS. In most cases, students register with SAS in order to request accommodations that offset the impact of their diagnosed conditions. There are 3 steps for registering with SAS. First, the students complete an online self-registration. Second, the student provides documentation of their diagnosed condition from a relevant medical or mental health provider. Finally, the student schedules an appointment with an SAS staff member. In the next few slides, we will go through each of these steps in more detail. The first step of registering with SAS is completing the online self-registration. In this step, the student discloses the nature of their diagnosis and describes in their own word how their diagnosis impacts them. If available, the student can also upload documentation of their diagnosed condition at this time. Documentation will be discussed in more detail on the next slide. The second step is to submit documentation. Documentation is used to verify a student's diagnosis and to give SAS more information about how to support the student. Documentation must be completed by a relevant medical or mental health provider who can provide information about the functional impact of the student's diagnosis. Documentation can be uploaded during the online self-registration, emailed to sas@wm.edu, or faxed to 757-221-2538. Before moving on to step 3, here are a few considerations to keep in mind regarding documentation. If a student is registering a learning disability, a psychoeducational evaluation is required as documentation. This type of evaluation is also the preferred form of documentation for ADD or ADHD. For other diagnoses, including medical, mental health, physical, and sensory diagnoses, Students should submit an academic accommodations request form and/or a housing accommodations request form, depending on the type of accommodations being requested. IEPs, 504 plans, and other records of past accommodations are helpful supplemental information, but these records alone are not sufficient forms of documentation. Please note that there is a separate restricted parking for medical reasons form required for freshman or sophomore students who are requesting an exception to the university's parking policy. For more information, please see the documentation and forms section of the SIS's website. Finally, the student will schedule an appointment with an SAS staff member. During this appointment, the student and staff member will discuss how to meet the student's access needs through reasonable accommodations. SAS will also provide referrals to other campus resources as relevant. While this is listed as the last step of the process, students are encouraged to contact SAS at any time with any questions or concerns. After these 3 steps are complete, any approved accommodations will be sent to the student's William & Mary email. If the accommodations are academic in nature, the list of accommodations is sent to the student's professors as well. It is the student's responsibility to follow up with the individual professors to discuss how the accommodations will be implemented, which often varies by class. In some cases, other relevant staff members are notified of a student's accommodations. For example, housing accommodations are sent to relevant residence life staff. Additionally, the Parking and Transportation Department works with students approved for the Limited Mobility Shuttle Service, a free shuttle service for members of the campus community with temporary or long-term mobility needs. We will now go over some frequently asked questions about the registration process. Question number 1, do I need to reapply for accommodations every semester? In many cases, accommodations are approved on an ongoing basis. These students would not need to submit updated information regarding their condition every semester. However, all students need to renew their accommodations every semester to ensure that the list of accommodations is sent to the correct professors. This quick online process is communicated to all registered students at the beginning of each semester. If a student's condition or needs are likely to change over time, accommodations may be approved on a short-term basis with updated documentation required in future semesters. Question number 2. I've never had accommodations before, but I have a diagnosed condition. How do I know what accommodations to request? Please feel free to start the registration process even if you are not sure what accommodations to request. We will be happy to discuss this with you during your appointment. To help get started, think about any academic tasks that are impacted by your diagnosis. Some examples of academic tasks include reading, test taking, note taking, and traveling from class to class. Question 3. I am concerned about submitting documentation because I do not have an official diagnosis or a medical or mental health provider. What should I do? Please contact SAS to discuss your situation. While documentation is typically necessary to approve accommodations, SAS considers all requests on a case-by-case basis and strives to reduce barriers for students as much as possible. Please contact Student Accessibility Services with any questions or concerns. We can be reached by phone at 757-221-2512, by email at sas@wm.edu, or in person at Campus Center, room 109. We look forward to working with you.
Alrighty, and that was Courtney McMasters providing the very professional voiceover. She's someone else you might interact with if you work with our office. So please, again, feel free to be in touch. You'll often see kind of when we list our steps out of registering, the last step is often to make an appointment with us. That said, we talk to students all the time, especially if they, might have a diagnosis or they do have a diagnosis, but they have no idea if we can help them. So please feel free to contact us at any time. We're happy to help.
Thank you so much, Anna. I just want to reiterate that this is one of the special guest speakers that the student veterans of the past have asked for, so they said, oh, I wish I'd have known earlier. I wish I'd have started the process earlier. So we are so glad to have y'all join us and introduce the office and everything that you guys have. So yeah, we really appreciate you making the time, and hopefully you'll field questions from anybody with service connected diagnosed condition or any other questions that they have. So thank you for joining us. And now, definitely not last, definitely not least, Carolyn Ward, our Veterans Benefits Officer, is the most popular person to do with veterans ever because she keeps the GI Bill going, she keeps voc rehab going. I know that even if campus is on a break for the holidays, that Carolyn is still getting questions because I get them too, and I usually have to forward them to her to even get them answered. But thank you so much for joining us, Carolyn, and the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks, Charlie. Hi, Rochelle, Emily, Devontae, Paul, and Anthony. Good to see you. Thanks to everyone also. I am Carolyn Ward. I'm the Veterans Benefits Officer. I know I've been in contact with all of you all. So again, my email address, you can reach me at vabenefits@wm.edu or caward01@wm.edu. I do have a PowerPoint I could share. I don't, let me see if. Host disabled participants share screen sharing, it says. Maybe not.
Okay, try it now.
Okay, can everybody see that?
Yep, we got it.
Okay, great. All right, so of course the first steps with the VA benefits, go ahead. The first steps with the VA benefits are, let's go ahead and, sorry about that, is, applying for benefits, which you all have applied. You will only, this is just, information from the VA. Now you can go to gibill.va.gov for information to find out about educational VA benefits. With COVID-19, we're very lucky that we have special VA COVID-19 rules were extended. So if you're concerned about taking your courses online, if the course was originally supposed to be a residence course, but is now online for COVID reasons only, please know that the VA is processing those benefits as a resident student. So if you take any of the modalities, online, mix, on campus even, just know that the VA will be sending you your monthly housing payments and your VA benefits through as a resident student. And that's those courses that were supposed to be residents, but are just online now because of COVID reasons. So also, I sent you all an email on Thursday afternoon that gave up-to-date VA, the latest VA information on what you need to be aware of. One is to keep your email address and your mailing address updated to the VA so they know how to reach out to you. The VA is reaching out more to students via email because of COVID, but they are still able to mail you your certificate of eligibility letter and things like that. So they do need to have your mailing address updated. Also, if you ever have questions about VA, you can go to Ask a Question and ask those. You can also go to Ask a Question if you need another copy of your certificate of eligibility letter. You can also contact the VA, obviously, at 888-442-4551 for any questions that you may have. Also, on the email I sent, if you're having a financial hardship, you can contact the VA regarding that. Also, again, GI Bill students will continue to receive the housing allowance, and the government has extended that up until December 21st, 2021. So this semester's covered, summer semester's covered, and into next fall 2021 will be covered. So again, if you're taking online courses because of COVID, and they were supposed to be residence classes, you're okay with your housing and items like that. Again, everyone has applied, so you do know to go to gibill.va.gov. Also to have the latest information regarding the VA benefits. I know Rochelle and our other undergraduate student coming in were transfer students. So, you know, you all have provided me 1995s and things like that to show that you've changed programs. And those are items that as a certifying official that I require. Again, the next step when you apply, you received your certificate of eligibility letter and you provided that to me. Know as a William and Mary student that you only need to provide me really one certificate of eligibility letter while you're here. You can certainly scan and email me future ones. That's perfectly fine. That does help me keep up with how many months of entitlement that you have. The VA unfortunately does not inform certifying officials of the number of months that you have. But I can call them to inquire, but they only inform the student pretty much of that, unless I would inquire specifically. So any updated certificate of eligibilities is also helpful. You know, when we started the process, you provided me an internal William and Mary form called our VA benefits information sheet. This you only need to provide me once during your academic status at William and Mary. If you do change a chapter, which most students don't do, but if something does change, sometimes I'll ask for an updated VA benefits information sheet. But pretty much this is just one time only that you submit to me. Again, one time only is a certificate of eligibility letter. What's not a one-time only internal form that we also receive is the promissory note, which is from our student accounts office. So each semester or once academic year, I'll reach out to you to ask that students provide a GI Bill payment agreement or promissory note. And that usually you submit to my colleague in the bursar's office, Danielle McGee. It's important to note that that form is good for one academic year only. So you usually submit it to me usually right before the fall semester starts. So it's good for fall, spring, and summer. And then you'll submit another one for the next academic year. So that's just something you would need to know. Again, this is what that internal VA benefits information sheet that you provide me once looks like. The certificate of eligibility letter, again, this is some information about that we just discussed. And again, the promissory note. A lot of times what's going to happen is I'm going to reach out to you for students that are new. I'm going to reach out to you 3 times a semester, and I'll reach out from VA benefits at wm.edu email address. And I will ask, will you wish to use your benefit for the upcoming semester? So for the fall semester, I'll be reaching out to you in April to ask you that. And you will complete our electronic link on the email, and that information will go right back to me. It'll basically say yes or no if you want to use the benefit. I'll reach out to you in April regarding the upcoming fall semester. To look for that email coming from me in April. I'll also reach out to you before that on about March 15th about summer. Some students don't wish to use their benefits for summer, but if you do, that's when you'll let me know. And then usually around the 1st of November, I'll reach out to you for the upcoming spring semester. Even if you apply, even if you, respond to that electronic response as yes, you wish to use benefits, make sure you do have that promissory note GI Bill payment. That is if you're using post 9/11 benefits, and some students don't use that type of benefit, to my colleague Danielle McGee in the bursar's office, because she'll need to have that benefit for that academic year. And again, usually you'll write 2020, 2021 for this academic year. And then the fall semester, you'll do another one. Or when you get that email sometime between April and August, you'll do another one that'll say for the 2021-2022 year. So that's a lot of times students say when bills are due, I see my GI Bill hasn't been denoted on my bill yet. And that's because Danielle's waiting for that promissory note. So then the next step right now, what I'm doing is I'm submitting electronic certifications called a VA Form 1999, and I do those directly to the VA. And this triggers your benefit payments. So this gets you settled with the VA, and it tells them that you're coming to William and Mary during the fall semester, coming to the William and Mary the spring semester of 2021, and are using the benefits, and that starts the process for your housing payment if you're using post 9/11 benefits, and a book stipend, because that will come directly to you, usually in arrears, about a month after I submit it. The VA requires, or is about to require, requests that, first of all, the VA requests that schools do a two-part certification of this enrollment certification. The first part starts when I send in them your credit hour, because that gets the ball rolling for your, if you're doing the GI Bill, your housing allowance or your book stipend. Then after the add drop period is over, so after February 5th, for undergraduate students, I will work with Danielle and we will report in February a second certification to the VA to report your actual tuition and fees. At that time, I will also report any changes you've made now during the upcoming add drop period. So that's how the VA knows how many credits you're taking at William & Mary, what your degree program is, and what your tuition and fees are. Now, the book and the housing allowance will come directly to you if you're using post 9/11 benefits, but the tuition and fees will come directly to us. So again, when we send the electronic certification, that triggers the benefit. Again, there are those three pieces of benefit, the tuition and tuition related fees if you're using the post 9/11 benefit, the book and supply stipend, and the monthly housing allowance. Again, tuition and tuition related fees are paid to William & Mary. The book and supply stipend is paid to the student. It's important to note if you are on the GI Bill with the monthly housing allowance, and if you take a non-standard course, watch those because they usually have a different start and end date with the course. And so your monthly housing allowance is based on the actual days in class, you're in the class for the month. So as an undergraduate student, you want to try to make sure that you do have all your full 12 credits starting on January 27th and ending on May 18th. If you are registered for a non-standard course, sometimes those could be about a month or two, starting on say January 27th and ending in October. So that could affect some type of housing allowance. So it's always good to know that the VA pays based on the days attended in the month, not just if you're registered for full-time for the semester. If you go to graduate school, this is something you really need to pay attention to because a lot of the different courses, especially for the School of Business, when you're in grad level through the MBA program, don't always start and end on the same day. So sometimes, even though a student may be full-time during the entire semester, unfortunately, the VA doesn't look at it like that. They look at just paying you the days you're in for that month. So do be aware of that. If you're looking, which none of you are, but if you're looking to doing the St. Andrews program or studying in DC, maybe you are interested in studying in DC, please note that the VA does not cover benefits for these two programs. The reason why they don't cover the joint with St. Andrews has to do with transfer credits. And I know Charlie at the beginning of this meeting discussed, transfer credits and how prior credit. I encourage you all to touch base with Elizabeth Dubby and our office, the Office of the University Registrar. If you have any questions about your prior credits, she's a great contact. Again, if you want to take a class in DC, unfortunately, the VA looks at DC as another state and not in the state of Virginia. So our Virginia State Approving Agency, who approves all of our degree programs at William and Mary or at any university or college, states that any classes you take at William and Mary through the DC site can't be certified for benefits. So that's just something you should know. Again, always reach out to the VA at 888-442-4551. Go to our website, which is wm.edu/VA benefits. You can reach me through CA Ward 01 at wm.edu or at VA benefits at wm.edu. I communicate to you as students via both email addresses. I am normally located, we're in the office of the University Registrar in Blow Hall, which is the building across from the Wawa on Richmond Road. We're on the second floor, 240, and I'm in the office of 245. Most of us are continually working from home. Our office will be open for students this semester pretty much on Mondays from 8 to 5, Wednesdays from 8 to 5, and Fridays from 8 to 5. There will be someone up in the customer service to assist you. I will only be on campus for about 12 days only during the semester. I'm scheduled to work February 1st, February 3rd, and February 5th, and then again at the end of February, then not again until late March, and then one more time. But always, you know, you can reach me through the telephone, which is 757-221-2893. I can also video chat with you if you just, you know, if you just give me a call first or email me. Yeah, I'm here for you every day, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. But we're pretty much still working from home. Let's see here. I think I'll go ahead and stop the share. Here we go. I'm free to take any questions that anyone may have.
Yeah, and we can throw it open to questions for Carolyn, for anybody who's gone before, and you can post a question in the chat. You can do the hand raise thing, and I believe I will see it. Sometimes I've failed to see it before, so I will try and scroll through everybody. And I also, in the meantime, want to recognize that we have 2 current students who've joined the call. Of course, Paul is a student, the president of Student Veterans of William and Mary. We also have Anthony Ace Ventura, who is the most committed vice president of Student Veterans of William and Mary we've ever had, because he signed up to serve for a 2nd year. So he is dedicated to the cause, and we're glad to have him. And then Emily Richardson is such a dedicated vet that she is not only a veteran herself, but I believe she is calling in from a vet clinic. Is that right, Emily? Yeah, so
yeah, I'm at work.
Imagine somebody being even more of a vet than that. I can't possibly do so. But so for you 2, is there anything that we forgot? I know we covered a lot today, but you know, y'all are experts too. So I want to first say thanks for jumping on the call, and then 2, is there anything else that that we should have covered since y'all are so smart?
No, I just like to say thanks for everyone for coming, and welcome to those of you who are new. Welcome to the tribe. We're glad to have you. And I think everything's pretty well covered. Great job by everyone who presented. Thanks for doing it. Thanks for being here.
I want to give Ace one little bit of credit here, because he's got his background set up for the Wren building, which is the oldest academic building. And I'm sure, you know, throughout orientation, they've mentioned this 10,000 times, but the oldest still in use academic building in the country. And Anthony and the student veterans had everything arranged for the Ivy League Veterans Council conference to happen in that room, in part in that room, in part over at Colonial Williamsburg and other historic areas. And so it was a hell of a plan. We were all really looking forward to it. And then COVID actually made it so that we couldn't have it in person at all anymore. And so the students pivoted, made another excellent plan. It went off without a hitch. It was a pleasure to be a part of, but I certainly am looking at that background now and thinking longing thoughts of what a cool conference that you guys had scheduled, but maybe we can do it again. So great job on that for y'all. If we don't have any questions, I know it's Sunday. I know everybody has been so kind to come out and offer us a couple of hours of their time to welcome the new student veterans. I hope the takeaway is that there are lots of resources on campus to take advantage of. There's lots of opportunities for leadership and engagement. And there is also opportunities for teaching me something that I don't know about the veterans population to make it better for those who come after. So it is always really exciting at the start of the semester to think those thoughts. And yeah, I just really appreciate everybody and their contributions now today, but also throughout the year, and in some cases throughout years and years of supporting veterans. All right, everybody. Well, thanks so much for jumping on the call. And I hope to see each one of you many, many more times and as soon as possible in person. Wouldn't that be great? So yeah, thanks again for everybody for coming out. And yeah, we will see each other soon.
Thanks, Charlie. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks very much. You guys enjoy your day.